Jeff Boucher. I'm a staff writer at the Los Angeles Times. I write about pop culture. Phil Spector was one of the first and most famous rock and roll producers ever. Along with George Martin, he was a producer who became as big as the stars he produced, in some cases even bigger. He created a sound, a signature sound called the Wall of Sound. And that used an echo chamber, the top session musicians in music, to create what he called teen symphonies, pop symphonies. It's music that jumped out of the radio and became an essential part of American music. It made it much more ambitious in rock and roll as far as the instrumentation and the way it actually sounded. By 1962, he started a string of hits with girl groups like the Ronettes and the Crystals, and then later acts like Gene Pitney and the Righteous Brothers. And then by the end of the 60s and early 70s, he was brought in to work on the Beatles' music.
The long and winding road.
He did Let It Be and The Long and Winding Road, the lush strings that are so different than the Beatles sound that many fans were accustomed to and a lot of Beatles fans didn't like. As the 70s wore on, his sway was definitely giving way in pop music, although he still worked on projects with George Harrison, Cher, John Lennon. But by the end of that decade, he really had become a curio figure in the music industry. He had one last gasp effort with the punk band, the Ramones, to try to recapture some of the old magic. After that, in the 1990s, he was more famous for things that didn't work out at all. But he was also famous for his tantrums. He famously brandished or fired a gun while in the studio with people like Leonard Cohen, John Lennon, the Ramones. The songs that Phil Spector worked on raised the general ambition of pop music. And now today, in hip-hop, you've seen it come full circle where the producer is as big a star as the artist. It's really the Phil Spector model. Phil Spector is not a big man, but he cut quite a large figure in pop culture.